All right, let's get right into it. How does a company tell its story when the main character isn't a person at all, but an ingredient? Today, we're going to break down exactly how Rudrapur Solvents does this with their star product. It's a really fascinating case study in corporate storytelling. So, before we can understand the story, we've got to meet its main character, right? The company's whole narrative is built around this one single ingredient, which, of course, begs the question, what in the world is it? Well, it's called Oiled Rice Bran, or DORB for short. And basically, it's a really important byproduct that comes from processing rice. Its main use is as a nutritional ingredient in feed for animals and fish. So, on the surface, it sounds like a pretty humble, simple ingredient. But for this company, it's the absolute hero of their entire story. And the company that's crafting this whole story is Rudrapur Solvents. Now, the source material we're looking at presents them as the authority on this ingredient. So let's see how they go about framing their own identity. And right here, this is the first major building block of their story. I mean, just look at the language they're using. They don't just say they offer trust and quality. No, they position their very name as being synonymous with these huge concepts. That is a really powerful way to frame things, and it sets the foundation for everything else that's coming. So, they've set the stage. How do they build on that foundation? Well, let's move on to their promise of quality, which they position as something that goes way, way beyond just the basic expectation. And here they are, the pillars holding up that promise. You've got integrity, transparency, sustainability, ethics. You know, these aren't just random buzzwords. They're very carefully chosen ideas that speak directly to the concerns a lot of modern customers have. By calling these their cornerstone, they're trying to build a brand that's about more than just the product itself. This brings us to what is really their central claim. They're drawing a super clear line in the sand. On one side, you have meeting industry standards. You know, the baseline, what everybody else does. But on the other side, that's where they say they live. Their stated goal isn't just to meet the standards, it's to blow past them and set totally new benchmarks for quality. That's a pretty bold way to stand out from the competition. Of course, making big claims is one thing, backing them up is another. So the next part of their narrative is all about impact, and they use specific success stories to try and make their case. So their first piece of evidence takes us into the world of aquaculture, fish farming. It's a massive industry where the quality of the feed directly impacts the health of the fish and, honestly, the survival of the business. This is the perfect stage for Rudrapur to show that their product isn't just an ingredient, it's a solution. And just listen to that phrasing, a game changer. They're not just giving you a list of nutritional facts. This is a powerful, almost emotional story about creating healthier, more vibrant life. That's the kind of language that's designed to resonate and stick with you. All right, so from the water, the story moves on to the land. Their next success story is all about feed for livestock, which is another sector where efficiency and animal health are absolutely everything. And look at how specific these benefits get. They don't just say better health. They claim tangible, measurable outcomes that directly affect a farmer's bottom line. More milk, and not just more milk, but higher quality milk with more fat. See, this isn't just a story about animal well-being, it's a direct appeal to the business sense of their customers. Okay, so they've presented all this evidence. How do they tie it all together? Well, they make it really clear that these stories aren't just data points on a chart. Their real purpose is to use this evidence to build something much, much more valuable: confidence and trust. They actually describe this as a kind of feedback loop. The success of their customers fuels their own commitment, which in turn boosts the customer's confidence in them. It creates this self-reinforcing cycle that actually pulls the customer into the company's own motivation. It's pretty clever. This also reinforces the idea that their work is never truly done. They present their whole process as this continuous cycle, always researching, always refining, and always innovating. The subtle message here is that the quality you get today isn't the end of the road. It's just one stop on a long-term journey to get even better. So, after all that, where's the story heading? The final part of their narrative isn't really about what they've done in the past, but where they're trying to go. So let's take a look at their vision for the future. This final quote is so telling. Did you notice the words together and let's? It's framed as an invitation. They're not just declaring what they will do, they're framing the future as a collaborative effort, something they want to build with their partners and their customers. And this, right here, is the ultimate idea they want to leave you with. The goal is to elevate the entire relationship beyond a simple transaction. They don't want to be just a manufacturer you buy from. They want to be seen as a true partner who is genuinely invested in your success. And that brings us to our final thoughts. We've just walked through a pretty masterfully told corporate story. It's clear, it's compelling, and it builds a powerful case. But it leaves us with a key question to think about, not just for this company, but for any time we see a narrative like this. What are the right questions we should be asking when a company presents its own success stories? That's something worth chewing on.